Welcome back to DS Trucks. I heard online that Ford is going to be doing away with the keypad on the doors. This is very interesting as this is a feature that's been running for so long on Ford vehicles, their cars, their trucks, all that good stuff. I saw on Facebook someone put a post up 2025 the keypad will be gone. Now, I don't know if that's exactly true. I didn't necessarily fact check it, but it sounds good. It sounds like it could be a thing. And it's very interesting. It's like, why now, after all these years of running this keypad, would they finally get rid of it? I know on my newer vehicles, and my newer Fords, it's one of those things that's there that never gets used. I've got no use for it. I've never really pressed the buttons on it since I owned the truck. If it wasn't there, I never would notice. And it kind of raises a question. It's like, how much money is it costing Ford to use a feature or to create a feature like this that just doesn't get used? Now, maybe for the next owner down the road, and look at that, it even lights up for you when you touch the door. I'm sure this is not a cheap panel. I bet this B-pillar applique costs a lot more money because it's got that on it. And think about, I used to actually install these. Think about how much work and more cost there is when you put this B-pillar applique on the truck, and then you got to run the wire down through here, plug it in. Then there's wiring going all the way over to the through the harness, probably back to the body control module, and then this keypad, the code and everything all have to match. It means the body control module has a code that goes with the rest of the vehicle and all this stuff, and they give you a little card. All this stuff has to match. And if something happens to a specific body control module and all that, it throws everything off. Like, everything is matched up because of that code. It's a very, very extensive process to put a code on every single vehicle that it all just works together. Now, in our case with the keyless entry, there's just no need for me to be pressing the buttons. I mean, if I had an XL truck and I had the keypad, that would be more useful if I didn't have, I guess, keyless entry. But with keyless entry, it's kind of I don't know. It's really no. If I'm going to lock the door, I'm just going to lock it like this. I'm not going to lock it like this. But comment below and let me know what you think. Do you think this is a good thing or bad thing? Do you use this feature, or are you like me and you have this Ford vehicle and you've just never used that feature? My thought process on it is, I really wonder why, after all these years, over 20 years, they've been putting this on these vehicles. Why stop now? And I wonder if it's just a way to save money. You're not going to be, I mean, you're talking millions of dollars. The minute they take this off of the truck, it's millions of dollars being saved on every unit. That's a lot. It's a lot of electronics. It's a lot of little buttons and lights and wires and all kinds of stuff. It's probably enough copper to go to the moon and back. I mean, it's going to be quite a savings for them just to take one little thing like that off of the vehicle. I wonder if they have data now that really can allude to how much people are using. You think about the Ford Pass. I wonder how much data they can see, because now we know they can see the vehicle's location, its fuel, they can see DTCs, they can see check engine lights. They can see a lot of data. Can they tell if you're wearing your seatbelt? Probably. This vehicle, for whatever reason, more and more items on this vehicle are becoming electronic. The parking brake now, it's electronic, and I can hear it when I engage it. It's very noisy. What's very interesting is sometimes after like a long drive, I'll park the truck, get out, and I'll hear that parking brake engage and disengage. And I'll be like, whoa, I just heard that noise. I know that's the parking brake. And I go and look, like, did the truck just apply the parking brake? No, it didn't. And in order for me to turn it off, now I got to put my foot on the brake. And I think I got to start it. Oh, well, at least have the vehicle on. It makes me wonder. But back to what I was saying, I could hear that parking brake engage and disengage, and I got in the truck thinking, did my parking brake engage for some reason? Am I parked in a slight incline, or what happened? No, it wasn't, but I could hear that it actuated. It's almost like it cycled through its process just to make sure maybe that it moves every once in a while so it doesn't seize up, or it actually has enough movement every couple months or a couple weeks or whatever. It's very interesting. But why is everything electronic, and why spend probably millions and millions of dollars to make a component electronic compared to mechanical? Typically, the electronic parking brake has been reserved for higher trim level trucks, but it's interesting that so many things have become electronic. Now you can tell when a butt is in the seat if it's wearing a seat belt. There's pressure sensors on every single seat, so the computer knows when you're wearing your seatbelt, and if the vehicle's traveling, even in the middle seat in the back, there's a pressure sensor that is warning you if the middle occupant removes the seatbelt. So what manufacturer goes through the trouble of putting a pressure sensor, even to the point where there's a pressure sensor even in the middle, to the point where if you're wearing your seatbelt and you take it off and you're in the back seat in the middle, the truck knows? Why go through that expense? I believe it's because they are selling the data. Whether it's an insurance company, whether it's whatever, I think they're selling the data. Now, with regards to the keypad, if everything's tied into the computer and there's data now on everything, could it be that Ford now has the data that it needs, that it knows that they're spending millions of dollars on this keypad, that there's no data? No one's pressing the keypad. What if they figured out that basically this feature is so underutilized that if it were not on the truck, they would lose no sales, no measurable amount of sales. Maybe there's going to be a few people that say, I'm not selling and I'm going to keep this because it's got the keypad and I like the keypad. But I don't think there'll be many. Another useless feature are these mirror spotlights. Let's go ahead and press the button, see if they work. Nope. The vehicle's got to be on for them to work. Can we turn on the vehicle and get them to work? Yeah, just a key on only. So the vehicle's got to be on. They look kind of cool though. Vehicle's got to be on, and it's got to be sitting at less than 3 miles an hour. So as I sit here and look at this, they're bright. Yeah, they're pretty bright. It's a cool circuit. Oh, I got to turn off the